What's up, board fam? Eric here, and I was told that Jesterbell actually likes something. So we're going to watch this video and see if she can get through it without insulting or saying nonsense. Let's check it out.
Hello everyone, Jesterbells aka Female Frodo Baggins is here, and I'm sorry if I'm not as hyped as I should be at the beginning of this video because I am super tired. But I want to
We're
be
tired of
fair
you
where
too.
I have to be fair
Oh.
because Spider-Man Brand New Day proved me wrong. Some of you might remember the first trailer came out and I just wasn't feeling it like I thought I would be. And the more marketing started to come out for this movie, I was like, you know guys, I don't actually think I'm hyped about this like I thought I should be. And I did a video a couple months ago where
But why would you be? Why would you be hype about it? Everybody in your space makes more money when you're upset and angry and disappointed about something. So it doesn't really make sense for you to preemptively be excited about something, which is why you saying I'm shocked that I wasn't excited because of the marketing. Like, I'm not shocked. I'm more shocked that this video is titled Spider-Man Brand New Day Proved Me Wrong. I'm more shocked that this video exists. I don't think it's going to go the way that I want it to go, but let's continue.
I basically just laid out what I was seeing in the marketing and why I just was not on board with it. I'm like, you know, I don't think I'm on board with Tom Holland's Spider-Man anymore. I don't really care that they're making it so much about him getting back together with Ned and MJ. I want to move on from this because it's so connected to the MCU, and I don't even like the way the movie is shot. I don't like the way it looks. But to my
those are like fundamental parts of the Spider-Man story in the MCU. Like the visuals, the characters that's connected to Peter and Spider-Man, those are fundamental parts of the story. And you don't like Tom Holland as Peter Parker. So I'm curious what turns you around here.
a surprise in the second trailer for this movie, the one we got yesterday. Sony it's like they listened to every single one of my criticisms. I'm not saying they literally found my video.
I mean, I'm glad you're not saying that because that would be really stupid to assume that they watched your content and changed their billion-dollar franchise because of a YouTuber. That would be really crazy. That would be a crazy thing to say. So I'm very glad, and I think everybody watching is very glad that they're not listening to you and responding to what you're saying.
But it is interesting that Tom Holland has said that they have their ear to the ground for what fans want from this movie and what people want from a Spider-Man movie.
But you're not a fan, though. That's the thing. If you guys use that word, I don't think you know what that word means, right? You are not a fan of these properties. You're not a fan of Disney. You're not a fan of Marvel. You're not a fan of the direction of the MCU. So what would make you a fan? Because you love a version of those characters from some other thing, like Marvel Rivals or the comic books from the 80s, that doesn't mean that you're a fan of what they're doing right now. Like, this umbrella term of fan gets thrown around a lot by these guys. There are things that I like I like pizza. Okay, I love pizza. It's my favorite thing. But I don't love every pizza out there. So I would not assume that every pizza is going to be a pizza that I like simply because I like some pizza. So when you're saying you're a fan of something like Spider-Man, a version of Spider-Man, that doesn't mean you're going to like every version of Spider-Man. Doesn't mean you're a fan of every version of Spider-Man. You like to throw that word out there because it gives you some sort of entitlement over what these properties are doing. It allows you to gatekeep. It allows you to purity test and all these other bullshit things. So when you say fan, I don't think you're a fan of the MCU Spider-Man. I don't think you're a fan of what they're doing with this character.
And I actually saw in this recent trailer a correction of like every single thing that I was having a problem with the marketing.
Okay, so every single thing. I don't know if we're going to make it through this whole video. With Jesterbells, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But that means that you're not going to mention one thing in the rest of this video that bothers you. Because they corrected everything. According to you, they corrected every single thing. Which means you should have nothing but positives to say about the marketing for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Nothing but positives.
problem with the marketing of this movie so far. Like, they heard that with, you know, all the money that this movie is gonna make, that there's still some people who are not sold on it, and they sort of met all of that criticism. And it's nice to see Sony continue to try to present Spider-Man in the best way possible, and, you know, to sort of show up superhero fatigue. And
okay, so a couple things there. You have trashed Sony for other things previously connected to Spider-Man. So when you say that they are always trying to present Spider-Man, let's run this back. I want to make sure that I get this right. Give them credit for always trying to present Spider-Man in the best possible way. Is that what you say?
It's nice to see Sony continue to try to present Spider-Man in the best way possible, and, you know, to sort of show up superhero fatigue.
Okay, so there are two things there. So your first statement, that first thing we just talked about, I don't understand that. You've already trashed Sony Spider-Man properties multiple times, so I'm not sure what that means. But superhero fatigue, this is something that I find really funny. I hear it tossed around quite often. And when you say superhero fatigue, that is a necessary condition. It is a statement that you are placing on an entire industry of films. Maybe more than that if you're talking about superhero fatigue outside of movies and maybe even TV shows. If superhero fatigue is a real thing, that means anything that's made with superheroes in it, we will see a decline or a disinterest in those things. We'll see apathy connected to those things. But we know that's not true. We know that some things break that mold. Some things do not suffer from the disinterest and the apathy that we see from the audiences. So you could say that superhero movies do not drive the audiences in the way they used to typically, because there are atypical examples of these movies doing a lot of money, and Spider-Man's going to do that. So superhero fatigue is not a real thing. It is impossible as a real thing because we see outliers. We see things that are not suffering that other superhero films are suffering from. But matter of fact, other movies at the box office, things that we thought were going to perform really well that are not superhero movies, are also suffering because of whatever reasons, industry reasons. So we know that the superhero fatigue thing is a buzz term that these folks like to use. They love to toss it out there and throw it out there because then they can use it as a catch-all excuse for anything they want in the superhero genre. It's just not a real thing. Like, look at a channel like Nerdrotic. How many things does he talk about that isn't just cape shit? He talks about fantasy stuff, he talks about sci-fi stuff, but we never hear, oh, it's fantasy fatigue, it's sci-fi fatigue. It doesn't make sense. Superhero fatigue is a dumb fucking term, and it does not apply. It doesn't make sense. So stop saying it. You sound really stupid when you say it.
And to actually give people what they want, and also the opposite of what we've been getting from a movie like Supergirl. So I want to kind of go through this.
Both Supergirl and Spider-Man are yet to come out. So this absolutism about how good these movies are going to be or what people are going to think about them is so fucking strange. Like we're having a discussion here about Spider-Man, the marketing of Spider-Man, which is a fair discussion because you don't have to see the movie to comment on the marketing. It's a fair criticism to talk about marketing for movies and TV shows. But she's talking about the what fans are going to get out of the movies, like what they're going to get out of Supergirl, what they're going to get out of Spider-Man. We don't know. We have no idea.
Video and talk about all the things that I saw in that trailer that kind of changed my hype for this movie and turned it around and made me actually kind of hype for it, and that I think it's actually really going to turn out. And it kind of just reminded me about what it used to be like back. We're all just so excited about superheroes again. I still have a couple caveats, however you pronounce it, and we'll talk.
Okay, so then your original statement was false. Your original statement was false. You said like less than a minute ago that they fixed everything. But now you're saying there's a couple things they didn't fix. There's a couple caveats to this. So when you say something like everything, when you make a statement like that, that is a broad statement that means something. If you cannot say what you mean, then why are you even doing this? Why are you even running a YouTube channel? It is a big, huge red flag for me when someone says something so broad and sweeping like that, and then goes, oh, but there's also these things that I'm going to complain about. It's very similar to when you're talking about, I don't know, superhero fatigue. You make these necessary absolute statements and then they don't mean anything.
Talk about it at the very end of this video. So what did Sony exactly
So we got to stay
address
till the
in
end.
this
I might
movie,
skip ahead.
to make it so I changed my mind about this? Well, for one thing, they fixed the color grading in this movie. What we were seeing in the early trailers, it was all incredibly flat, low contrast.
And when you say fix, that means you must know someone on the inside that changed it because of the complaints. Right? They made some statement like, "Hey, we heard your complaints, so we decided to change this." Or was it their intention all along because the first trailer we saw was unfinished? Which one of those things seems more likely? That it was an unfinished trailer that they still had to work on some of the visuals for, or that they changed the entire movie in about a month's time because you guys complained about it? Which one seems the most likely?
The CGI was very, very obvious, and it all just felt very fake to me. And just seeing the lighting
fake.
of Brand New Day.
It is fake. Like, Spider-Man's not real. Superpowers aren't real. Like, it is fake. So if you look at it and you go, wow, that looks fake. I mean, it is fake.
In the early trailers versus the older Spider-Man films, even the Amazing Spider-Man movies, it was like, this just looks so bad. It looks so fake. There's no depth to anything or anything like that. So my trailer, like, all of the contrast in color is there. Like, you see all of the strong shadows in the different shots.
Are you going to show, like, are you going to do a side-by-side so we can see what you're talking about? Or are you just going to show a picture of the recent trailer? I mean, you're already showing it here. You could put up two images side by side to give us an example. I would appreciate that, because I'm gonna say, for once, I trust that you're being honest here about the trailer looking different to you. But without a side by side comparison, you're making the statement without any proof. It's again, no evidence.
It's like, that's what you need. You don't want it to be all flat. You want there to the faces of the characters to be shaped. There are some very memorable shots with Spider-Man. It actually does look very similar to the lighting and the color grading of the original Raimi Spider-Man films. I'm not sure how much color grading was used then versus now.
And that's a red flag. That's a red flag. When you don't know how something else was done or why it was done or any of the details of it, but you're like, oh, but this thing is doing it now. That's a red flag for me. Like, you have to know what you're talking about. It's important to know what you're talking about when you say something like that. But of course, this is Jesterbell.
But it looks similar to that lighting. And that is great to see, because for me, like, the first thing you need to do if I'm to be enticed by something is, well, at least get the look right. If the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy and now going into Brand New Day, if it all just looks like flat and overly CG'd, then, I mean, you have to make a lot of it CG because it's Spider-Man. But if it all just looks fake to me, then I'm just not enticed by it. Even if the story is good, I'm just not enticed by it. But
so it's not about the story then. So, like, for you, it's all about just swinging around and fighting and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter. The story can be 10 out of 10. But if there's a wonky web or the lighting in one shot is off, it's game over. Pack it up, go home, get the fuck out of here. We're not paying our tab. Dine and dash. Is that what we're doing? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me that you ask for better movies. And then when you're like, oh, but the story could be perfect, could be great, I could love the story, but one little wonky VFX thing is enough to make me trash the movie. It's weird standards.
To have this trailer show actually good cinematography, and it plays around with what you can do with this character of Spider-Man, so that was a big improvement for me.
What is good cinematography? Can you explain what that is? Like, give an example of, like, when he's swinging, or the way the camera moves when he's on the wall, or the lighting specifically. Like, what is good cinematography in your opinion, if you even understand what that is?
But going forward about the other things, I said in my video that I just am not into Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I don't think he's the greatest actor to portray this character. And
okay, so then this doesn't make any sense. Like, if you don't like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, which is the same thing you said about Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, you've had these things before. I think you said it about David Cornsweet and Superman. Like, you've said these things before where you don't like these actors in these roles, and you've completely trashed the movie. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me here that all of a sudden you don't like Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Spider-Man in the MCU, but you're still on board with the movie. Again, how do they fix, if you say they fixed everything, Unless they recast Peter Parker, Tom Holland as Peter Parker, I don't see how they could fix everything for you. It's just a lot of what's the point of this video?
Even as they try to make changes, I don't feel like he really fits in with this modern Spider-Man. I felt like he was just going to be Spider-Boy forever, and that he was an actor who was cast to play this very specific version of the character that's just supposed to be a green superhero amongst more adults. So it's kind of like the character of Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel. But this trailer, I will say, like, they really, really tried to emphasize that this is classic Spider-Man. And, even just having at the end within classic Spider-Man humor and, the weight that the character constantly carries. And we see that he's, kind of going out of control. He's having these blackouts where he's going out of control. It felt like very real to Spider-Man. And I think that it's the first time in the marketing of this movie that Tom Holland did feel like he was really fitting into the traditional Spider-Man role, even though, like, I really was doubting him before, and I'm wondering, can he even just pull off this transition to playing a more adult Spider-Man? Like, in this trailer, I'll say, he felt like real Spider-Man, and it felt like he was actually pulling off, once again, the weight and the depth of the character, and even his sense of humor, his traditional sense of humor, that's really hokey, and it's not necessarily funny, but it's funny in the way that Peter Parker delivers it. So
Peter Parker is known for cringy one-liners. Like, that's the character, right? Like, he doesn't read people like a drag queen. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what Peter Parker does. He's not out here talking about throwing shade at stuff and things like that. He does, like, cringy one-liners. They're silly. They're supposed to be that way. That's what he does.
Oh, I actually was on board with Tom Holland's Spider-Man in this trailer, at least. And, like, you need to sell me on the actor playing the character if you want me to get on board with the movie. So I went from...
So I want to remember this. I don't know how I'm going to remember it. Fam, you're going to have to tell me. But if I forget, but if she trashes Tom Holland in the movie after praising him in the marketing, it's going to be real interesting. Because I don't think there's any way, and I could be wrong, but I don't think there's any way that Jesterbell comes out on the other side of Spider-Man Brand New Day and has like a glowing reception to the film.
Being like, I'm done with Tom Holland Spider-Man, to being like, well, guys, he actually seems like he's doing it here. I hope that the overall Spider-Man we get in the movie is just like the one we get in this trailer. But
okay, there we go. There we go. She's giving herself an out. That is an out, everyone. So she can go later on, this was not the same as the marketing. So this is one of those times where I think she's making this video to sort of push back against the narrative that she doesn't like anything, but she fully intends to trash the movie. I believe that. She fully intends to trash the movie.
To add a little bonus to that, like, I was just doing a video on Supergirl and talking about how that movie, from what we've seen in the marketing, doesn't seem to understand actual heroism. You have a character who's wallowing in her own self-pity, and this is supposed to be an emotional validation journey where she just needs to make it smaller, and it's okay to be messy, and it's like, it's not really understanding the actual flaws in the character. Her flaws in this case are not a good thing.
I mean, isn't that the purpose of the movie? To show the journey? Do you think the marketing is required to show us the totality of the journey the character takes in a movie from start to finish? She starts out messy and flawed because she lost everyone she loves. This is so stupid. Like, I know this isn't a Supergirl video, but what a stupid criticism. The whole point is she's going to be a hero, I think, by the end of the movie. We're going to see her do something selfless. We're going to see her correct some of the issues that she has, some of the problems that she has. I think that's the point of the movie, the point of the character. But I guess Jesterbell thinks the marketing is required to tell us the totality of the journey that these characters are going to take from start to finish in an entire film before we ever see the movie.
But that said, I was talking about how a lot of superhero media these days, I think that one of the biggest problems is they don't actually understand the concept of the superhero, and they don't...
Okay, I want to pause here because I knew this was going to happen, right? So the video is framed in a way where she's positive about the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and she's turning around here. But instead of focusing on that, she takes a side quest to talk about Supergirl, and then takes another side quest to trash superhero media. You see how that happened? Like, let's run this back for a second. I just want to run this back. Because she doesn't want to trash the Spider-Man trailer directly, she's taking another path to go after Supergirl and thus go after superhero movies in a video where she's supposedly trying to be positive about a trailer. It's a really weird thing, but let's follow her train of thought. I'm gonna let her talk and go through this because I think it's important to watch how she does it.
But to add a little bonus to that, like I was just doing a video on Supergirl and talking about how that movie, from what we've seen in the marketing, doesn't seem to understand actual heroism. You have a character who's wallowing in her own self-pity, and this is supposed to be an emotional validation journey where she just needs to make it smaller, and it's okay to be messy. And it's like, it's not really understanding the actual flaws in the character. Her flaws in this case are not a good thing. But that said, I was talking about how a lot of superhero media these days, I think that one of the biggest problems is they don't actually understand the concept of the superhero, and they don't understand that depth and that the choices that these characters make that actually makes us connect with these characters and root for them. Being a hero isn't just a day job, and if to these characters, it needs to have an actual substance behind it. And that's what I really like seeing in this trailer. In the typical,
so quite literally in the comics, we have a team called Heroes for Hire. There's lots of superheroes that take jobs for money, they get paid for it, right? We see this all the time. Her idea of what a superhero should be is not the concept of a superhero. It is Jesterbells' personal opinion on what a superhero should be. And so when you start creating these sort of purity tests, or you start creating these hoops for writers and directors and actors to jump through in order to portray what you consider to be the ideal superhero, that becomes a form of gatekeeping. It becomes a form of ownership. It is an issue that we deal with these guys all the time. They don't seem to understand that their opinion, even if it's a shared opinion with a handful of them, their opinions about what these things should be is not some standard for what these things should be. It's just simply their opinion.
Spider-Man fashion, you know, he's down and out. Everybody seems against him. It seems like even he can't even control himself. Everything seems against him, but he just keeps trying. And that's what the core of Peter Parker Spider-Man is. Like, he's always got the weight of the world on his shoulders. It always seems like everyone's against him. It always seems like he can't win, can't get his own personal life together, but he keeps trying to do the right thing.
So he's a little bit messy, right? He's a little messy. He's dealing with some stuff. So why is it that Peter Parker gets afforded the opportunity to be messy, and that's okay with you, but Supergirl can't? Why is one character allowed that and the other character is not? I wonder if there is a double standard that you are applying here when it comes to these characters for some arbitrary reason. I don't know. Maybe it's because you have a personal feeling about certain people involved with other franchises and you're sort of like projecting all of that onto your takes here. I don't know, maybe.
And I'll say that this trailer, Spider-Man Brand New Day, in the midst of having something like Supergirl, for example, and a whole lot of other stuff that seems like they're embarrassed of superheroes, they don't understand like the core morality or the substance behind the characters that are successful.
It's almost like they're different characters. It's almost like they're different. Like, this is how one person deals with messiness and trauma and bullshit, and here's how the other person deals with it. And not every superhero is the same. It's almost like they're different stories about different characters.
They try to, keep it to the gray areas or moral ambiguity at times. Here, just having like an actual superhero who understands that concept and that substance that they used to nail at every movie. It's really nice to get that back again. And that actually, once again, brought back some hype for me and made me remember what it was like, in the golden age of superhero movies and why we were so hyped and excited to get our annual, superhero movie, which used to be every year and then it became every 3 months. But yeah.
So the golden age of superhero, like, when was that for you? Like, when was it for you? Because I don't think you liked anything across the board. I feel like even in this video, you can't commit to saying that you like the Spider-Man trailer without bringing something else down. It really does feel like it's just impossible for you to do that.
Yeah, I think that is really a driving force. Like, it's Spider-Man, obviously, but they're getting the core of Spider-Man right, it seems, so far. Now, here's some other aspects that I turned around for this trailer. It doesn't feel like the MCU. That's why I had a problem with it first. Like, it looks like the MCU with its lighting and its color grading and all of that. It feels like the MCU with all of these characters coming in. I just spent years of spending time in the MCU, and it doesn't even feel like a world anymore. And it just reminds me of all of these bad movies that I had to endure. So when I saw a Spider-Man movie now set in that world of this decaying MCU, where movies like Captain America: Brave New World, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, The Marvels, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, which is so bad it'll never even get a sequel. Like when I saw a Spider-Man movie take place in the same universe as all of that, it's like I don't want to spend my time immersed in this universe, and we're still stuck with Ned and MJ and like this version of MJ, and it's like
it sounds like you don't like any of it. Like nothing about that has changed. It's still the MCU Spider-Man in the Marvel movie universe with all of the ties to all of those things you don't like and all the characters that you supposedly don't like, including Tom Holland as Peter Parker. So I don't know what the trailer could have done to make you feel any different, considering all of those people are in the trailer. It's got Mark Ruffalo in the trailer. I mean, what?
I want to move on from these characters. I felt at the time that we're still stuck with that kid version of Peter Parker that they had established as very much, a kid amongst larger than life superheroes. So I was like, I want to move on from this MCU. I don't want to be reminded of it. Now, that is what changed for me again in this trailer, is this trailer did not feel like it was set in the current MCU. It felt like a Spider-Man movie through and through. It didn't remind me of all that time in the past where Tom Holland Spider-Man has sort of been the Spider-Boy amongst these other heroes. It didn't remind me of Homecoming. Tonally, it reminded me more of the classic Spider-Man movies of Raimi.
But that's what this movie was always going to be. So in other words, you're not capable of understanding the concepts of the movies. Like when they tell you this is what the movie is going to be, and the actors go out and tell you what the movie is going to be, and you read synopsis that tells you what the movie is going to be, you have no way to process that and understand that. You have to be shown visually this is what it is in order for you to comprehend that what they're telling you is in fact what the movie is going to be. So you ignored all of that information. You just watched the last trailer and you just applied whatever your broad negative criticism over the MCU is to that trailer. That's what you did. So I don't believe you. Like, press X to doubt. I don't believe that you're just now switching that up. I don't think that's true.
Spider-Man, an amazing Spider-Man, if I even want to go that far. Once again, it just felt like the classic tone of the character. It didn't remind me of all the other MCU slop. It didn't even remind me so much of classic MCU in that way. And once again...
Slop is a red flag. It's a red fucking flag. The word is a red flag. It doesn't mean anything. These guys apply it to everything. It doesn't mean anything, just like woke doesn't mean anything to them. They say it, and whenever they say it, I immediately go, you don't have any real criticism. If you're using the term slop, unironically to apply to any sort of media as a criticism against that media, that is a red flag. It's a massive red flag for me, 100%.
That is really going to entice me. If I feel like we're getting an individually good superhero movie that is not tied into all of the other MCU nonsense and doesn't...
But it is. It's connected to Punisher. It's got the Hand, which comes from Daredevil. It's got Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. At least 3 things are going to tie into the broader MCU. You're just ignoring that? You're going, well, it didn't look like that to me when literally Mark Ruffalo and the Hulk are present.
Even feel like that and can just stand on its own and feels like a Spider-Man movie. Like there's definitely other characters from Marvel in here,
right?
But it feels like it's a Spider-Man movie first. Like he is the one who has to save the day here.
Based on vibes, I guess. I mean, it's like there's no logical thought rolling around in the skull. It's all vibes based. There's no coherent thought going on here. It's just whatever she feels like at any given moment.
Not in anyone else's shadow. The other characters are subservient to his story. It feels like
How?
an actual Spider-Man movie.
How are they? Like, do you even know? Have you seen the movie? You just saw a trailer. So Hulk could be in the movie as much as any other supporting character. We don't know that. You have no idea.
And through, not trying to make him Iron Boy Jr. or anything like that. This just feels like Spider-Man first all the way through. So once again, that changed my mind on it. Also, on that note, I still do not care for the character of Ned. I just don't really care about him at all. He wasn't in this trailer so much. This trailer.
So they didn't fix everything. Remember, guys, at the beginning she said they fixed everything, and this is like the third or fourth thing that they didn't fix. So they didn't fix everything for you. You still don't like Ned, right? So it's another thing she's complaining about.
Emphasize less the Ned and MJ thing and more of the broader story. I will say, though, at the very least, I still wish we could get a traditional Mary Jane Watson and Harry Osborn and all of that.
Okay, so they didn't fix that either. So that's another thing. I don't know what number we're on, but at this point, I feel like it's 4 or 5. So it's another thing you don't like that they didn't fix.
I feel like Michelle in this trailer did not bother me so much. And I think if Zendaya plays Michelle closer to herself, because a lot of people accuse Zendaya and, her more depressed persona that she brings in a lot of characters as her playing herself. That's just like the Zendaya persona that I did when it's come up in so many movies. Zendaya in life is actually much more upbeat. So what I'm saying is, even if we're not going to get traditional Mary Jane, I feel like if Zendaya plays Michelle Jones MJ closer to herself than the depressed girl she's been playing, I think that could work with me, and I could at least accept that for this movie. She is a
So it's another thing they didn't change. You don't like her personality either. You want them to change her personality. I mean, this has gone from like the trailer turned everything around to like there's a couple things that you feel like they're going to do, right? Like you feel like Tom Holland is good as Peter Parker now. You feel like this is going to be a Spider-Man first movie. You liked some of the grading, which with the colors, we don't know if that's something they planned on doing the whole time. Like it doesn't seem like you have a lot of solid foundational things that turned around for you. It's just like, okay, they changed something with the lighting where I'm not sure if they did that because of complaints, right? Because you have no evidence of that. You feel like you like Peter now. You like Tom Holland as Peter. You feel like the movie's going to be about Spider-Man first. You say it didn't look like the MCU, but it does like the MCU, I guess, and it still contains characters from the MCU. None of this feels solid enough for you to just change your opinion on the movie.
A lot better dressed. Like they were dressing this character up like a homeless person in the past. They are actually dressing her up decently for this movie, and I also think that makes all the difference. And I just see it as, I wish it was the actual Mary Jane, but it's Spider-Man's love interest in this movie. And if it was the actual Mary Jane Watson, it would be better. But it just feels like a typical story that you would.
It would be better based on what? I mean, what are you basing that on? How would it be better? We could have somebody playing the classic MJ that does an awful job. So if we know that for sure, then that comes down to the fact that you just want a white woman playing MJ. Because you can't know substantially if an MJ in this movie that looks like the MJ from the comics would be better than Zendaya in the movie. Right? You don't know that. You don't have any, there's no way you could know that. There's no way you could provide proof of that. So it's just the visual element. You just want a white character. I understand a lot of people are attached to those classic visuals, but to constantly harp on it, like Zendaya does a bad job portraying the character that they designed specifically for her, is so weird. It's so weird.
Tell between Spider-Man and his love interest, whoever that might be. So I can deal with that. If they aren't doing the original Michelle Jones MJ persona and are just moving forward in a different direction, then I can actually accept that. Now,
wow.
the last good point I want to bring here is the return.
It sounds like you can't, but we'll see. We'll see if you complain about it after the movie comes out.
Of the Hulk. Now, this has been a big thing. We actually have not seen an actual Hulk transformation since 2012, and I would argue we haven't seen the Hulk be the Hulk since, Age of Ultron, where he actually blew up. Ever since then, he's been treated as childish, or he just turned into Mark Ruffalo, Professor Hulk. Like, we haven't legitimately.
Well, in the comics, there are versions of the Hulk where the personality of Hulk and Bruce Banner are combined, or one of them is more dominant than the other. There's also times when the Hulk has been the smart Hulk. Like, we know these things exist in the comic books, and it's okay to not like that. Like, I'm totally okay with people going, I don't like that version of the Hulk, right? I'm even okay with people who don't like the Mark Ruffalo portrayal of the Hulk. I understand it. Those are fine criticisms, right? But to act like him doing that, being that character, was somehow wrong because you just prefer the more savage Hulk, which I prefer the more savage Hulk. To act like that portrayal was wrong, in general, is a subjective opinion. It's not really some objective truth behind the character. Would I have loved to have seen more done with the Hulk in the MCU, better storylines, things like that? Yeah, absolutely. So I love the idea they're doing that. But I'm not going to sit here and go, well, now that they're doing this, it all of a sudden changes everything for me when it comes to this movie. Like, I would have gone and seen the movie and supported the movie if we had Smart Hulk. Like I would have gone and done that. But, you know, it is what it is.
I guess maybe if you want to be fair, we saw him at the beginning of Infinity War, actually Hulk Rage come out. We just have not seen this character in such a long time, as he's just been turned into this Professor Mark Ruffalo character. So once again, just traditional Hulk and have explosion and that traditional and that Spider, once again, it feels like a classic Marvel clash. Spider-Man versus Hulk. Spider-Man has to save the day against this big beast. We actually have never seen Spider-Man versus Hulk in live action before, and it just all feels like getting back to the simple basic, you know, a superhero clash that we all like, and it's just like the simple traditional stuff. And it feels like it's another thing. Again, they listen to the fans and
there's a lot of feels in here. A lot of feelings based thoughts going on.
Because they knew that fans wanted the real Hulk back. Now, with all of that, once again, like this movie is selling out anywhere. We just got our tickets. We barely were able to get good seats. Like this movie is just selling out. It's going to make so much money. And you're like, I'm on board with it at this point.
Okay, so this is the difference here, right? So she knows, based on her own personal experience with buying tickets, that the movie is going to do well. She knows this. And so she knows she would be going up against like a mass amount of people that are excited about this movie, that want to see this movie. So this is her trying to determine what direction she's going to go with this. Because going into the movie, if she acts like she's somewhat lukewarm on it, or even I would say a little positive going into the movie, she could switch if she wanted to after the movie and say that she liked it. I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, that would be great. It's one less shitty Jesterbell video we have to deal with. But I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm on board with the hype. I want to see just a good, solid, traditional Spider-Man movie, which is what this is feeling like right now. It feels like a return, and these are the kind of superhero movies we used to get back in the 2010s, which made sure that superheroes were the number one thing everyone wanted to see. You know, it's a diamond in the rough of all of this slop. There are still two caveats I have. Number one, yes, we are getting the traditional Hulk back. However, Mark Ruffalo is still a problem for me. Mark Ruffalo is still playing Bruce Banner as himself. I don't see Bruce Banner.
So you wanted them to switch actors. Right, you wanted them to fire Mark Ruffalo and hire someone else for a Spider-Man movie. That's what you expected. That was because it's a caveat based on the marketing of this movie. So you wanted them to fire Mark Ruffalo, hire someone else specifically for the Spider-Man movie. Does that seem rational? Is that a rational thought, everyone? Is that a rational take on this, where you're like, yeah, I would be okay with this if they fired an actor that I don't like specifically to have someone else play him as a supporting character in another movie? Does that seem logical?
I just see Mark Ruffalo, and Mark Ruffalo hasn't tried to put on a performance as Bruce Banner since 2012. Ever since then, Age of Ultron, even, he's just been playing himself. So I'm not too thrilled with that. I still think going forward, we need a new actor to play this character.
So I gotta stop here. Do we think that Mark Ruffalo is just like a genius scientist in real life? Is that what it is? You're saying he's playing himself. So he goes around, he's a professor, he does formulas, he knows all about gamma radiation. Like, what do you mean when he's playing himself? Do you mean that as an actor, he is imprinting some of his own personality onto the character? Is that what you mean? Because Bruce Banner and Mark Ruffalo are very different people. But when you get hired as an actor in certain roles, the director might say, hey, I want you to add some of your own flavor onto it. There are actors who've made their entire careers playing themselves in roles, right? The Rock typically plays himself. Vin Diesel typically plays himself. These are Will Smith, except when he does like a random movie where he's portraying a real life person, he typically portrays himself. There's certain actors out there that they get hired and they get put in these roles because they want, the directors and the people involved with it want them to imprint on those characters. It might not mean the character is 100% traditional to, or there's fidelity from that character, but the thing is, it makes the character better in terms of the story they're trying to tell, which is why Mark Ruffalo is still playing the Hulk to this day, because he's doing something they want him to do. So expecting him to just change and become a different character altogether is such a weird expectation.
Rage Hulk back. I want someone to play Bruce Banner again who's actually going to just play this character and not just make it himself again. And I just don't think that Mark Ruffalo is ever going to change at this point, even as this movie is trying to be a course correction for the Hulk's character. But once again,
it seems like a pretty big, like, if I'm going to see a movie and one of the main actors and one of the main characters in the movie that's going to be a big part of the movie is someone I just don't like, and I don't like the direction of the character. I don't see how I can go into the movie without some sort of bias, which is why it's weird that that's one of her caveats. It's not like, oh, I don't think the fight scenes are going to be good, or I don't like the color of this costume. You don't like the entire personality of one of the main supporting characters within the film. I don't know how you square that circle.
And like, at least we're getting the actual Hulk back. I'm sure eventually Mark Ruffalo cannot play this character forever. We will eventually get a new actor portraying the Hulk, but that's just what I had to say about this movie, that aspect hasn't changed. Now, here is the other thing, and I'm worried because of my emotional attachment to these characters that even if Spider-Man Brand New Day is like this great movie, I'm still worried that this aspect could bring it down for me. Is, once again, the introduction of Jean Grey.
Okay.
And that we all know Sadie Sink is playing at this point.
We don't know that. We do not know that. And actually, I've got a video coming out tomorrow on my Reloaded channel where I'm going to explain to you why it's not Jean Grey. I truly believe it's not Jean Grey, and I actually think there's a logical answer for why. So this is her, I guess, bringing up a problem with the movie based on a speculation of who a character is going to be. Now, I don't disagree with her. I don't want, and I hate to say this, I'm agreeing with Jesterbell, but I am on this particular thing. I don't want it to be Jean Grey. I don't. And I have my own reasons for it. I'll talk about it tomorrow. That'll be on my Eric's Reloaded channel. So if you're subscribed here on Eric Debunks, head over and subscribe to Eric's Reloaded. It's over in the corner of the screen here if you want to get those videos. I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on that because we are going to watch the trailer tonight on the Nocturnal Nerdcast for Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're going to watch the trailer and talk about it. It's going to be the main topic tonight. And then tomorrow I'm going to explain why I don't think it's going to be Jean Grey.
Even see characters under her mind control in this trailer. We see her telekinesis at work, as I at least interpreted that's what it was. Now
it's almost like they're doing that to like make us think this, because why would they give that away so easily in the trailer? On top of that, it's not mind control, it's body hopping. And why would Jean Grey threaten Peter Parker's or Spider-Man's loved ones? Why? And Jean Grey would know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker because she can read minds, even though they say he's immune to it. That doesn't make sense either. Why would Peter Parker be immune to Jean Grey's telepathy? It's just a lot of things that don't make sense. But again, I'll go over more of that tomorrow.
Here is the thing. Sadie Sink could play a great Jean Grey. Who knows? I don't know that. Like, maybe even if we're just starting out with teenage Jean Grey, which I originally wasn't a fan of, maybe it'll turn out great. Maybe it'll even fit with this movie. And I'll say it. Like, my little X-Men fangirl heart, there is a level here of where I'm just happy to get these characters in movies. I'm just happy that the X-Men and mutants are now integrated to the rest of the Marvel characters and the Marvel universe like they should be. Jean Grey has never had a relationship with Spider-Man before, and I mean like platonic relationship or anything like that. But like just having mutant characters here again where they can interact with the Marvel universe and you see them get together on merchandise and all of that, it's nice to see. And there's a level where my little X-Men heart just, that subconsciously even that gives me a little hype for the movie because we're going to see these characters. But what brings it down for me is still, I know that if this movie is good, it's because Sony is ultimately the one producing this movie. Sony, like, through all the stumbles that they...
What's the problem with that? What's the issue with the movie being good because Sony produced it? Right? Well, Sony has made bad Spider-Verse movies. Like, we've got a ton of them. So if they're going to make a good one, I'll take it. Right? We've had bad movies from Sony in the Spider-Verse world. So I don't understand how is that a problem? How is that a negative?
They have had with Spider-Man in the past. They have had some stumbles, but they've overall been really good about protecting.
No, they've had massive flops. Massive flop, like financial flops, right? Not stumbles, out and out financial flops. The only movies they did that did anything for them outside of the Spider-Man movies are the Venom movies. I don't know why you're gassing them up this way.
The brand of Spider-Man, and even if they get a little off track, they're good about bringing it back. So if this movie is good, it's going to be because of Sony. That said, I still have no faith in any of Kevin Feige's MCU. So it's like, that is the one thing that might bring it down for me, is I don't trust them as they're using this movie to introduce X-Men.
But that means you're just going all the way back to this. Oh my God. This is you basically erasing your praise for the trailer. You're just erasing everything you praised it for. If your issue is that Kevin Feige and the MCU is going to be a problem for this movie, then that erases all of the positive comments you gave it, where you said none of it feels like it's being affected by the MCU. So you're basically, you're making two arguments here that conflict with each other. Like, legitimately, this is quite dumb.
Because he does not have the same grasp on the characters that he has access to as Sony does for Spider-Man. And so, like,
yes, Sony understands Spider-Man characters so well. Look at what they did with the Venomverse. Hey, you remember Far From Home when they trashed that version of Mysterio? They understand Spider-Man characters so well, so perfectly, right? There's never any criticism about how Sony handles Spider-Man characters. That doesn't happen.
Not even going into it, like, I'm wondering, am I going to like Sadie Sink as Jean Grey? Am I going to disagree with they did? Like, that would bring down the movie for me just because I'm such a big X-Men fan. I'm a bigger X-Men fan than I'm a Spider-Man fan. But just because I haven't seen the yet, just even once again, even a good performance, even if it is well integrated into the movie, I still am not happy that this is being used partially as a springboard for Kevin Feige to launch yet another franchise of characters when he has just tanked like 15 or more.
I mean, that's what this is all going to be. It's all connected together. So forget all the praise she just gave it earlier means nothing. Just forget it all. Matter of fact, this is where we're going to end the video. I don't even want to listen to the rest of this. So basically every bit of like concession she gave to this trailer saying it turned around for her, XYZ, because it didn't feel like it was part of the MCU. All of that means nothing when your final criticism, I believe this is your final criticism, it's the end of the video. When your final criticism is it's just part of the MCU. It's clown world. It's clown world. Get the wig, put on the nose, put on the big shoes, and get the fuck out of here.